In 1940s Soviet Russia, 5 prisoners were locked in a sealed chamber, promised freedom if they stayed awake for 15 days. What followed? Mutilation, madness, murder. They begged for the gas to stay on, because sleep meant death. Or so the story goes. But here's the twist. That story is fiction, yet the truth behind it is far more terrifying. 1964, San Diego, California. A different kind of experiment unfolded. No gas chambers, no masked figures, just a 17-year-old boy named Randy Gardner, and his quest to break the world record for staying awake. Imagine the teenage energy, the boundless optimism. Now picture him deciding to channel that into staying awake. For 11 days straight. 11 days, 264 hours. What started as a scientific curiosity quickly morphed into something darker. Day 3. Randy's mood soured. His thoughts, once sharp, became sluggish, like molasses in winter. Day 5. His senses rebelled. Tastes were distorted. He claimed a street sign was a person. His brain, starved for sleep, began to conjure tricks. Day 9. Reality itself fractured. Randy, convinced he was a famous football player, stormed out of the experiment, enraged that he was being denied a meeting with the press. He'd lost his grip on who he was. This wasn't some Soviet nightmare. This was happening right here in America. A young man pushed to the brink by the very thing that sustains us. You see, sleep isn't just about rest. It's about survival. And what Randy's ordeal revealed was just how fragile our grip on sanity truly is. His story should have been a wake-up call, a warning. But the allure of unlocking the secrets of sleep, it proved too tempting to resist. And in the shadows, far from the public eye, a far more sinister exploration into sleep deprivation was taking place. This wasn't about breaking records. This was about breaking minds. This was MK Ultra. Imagine a world where your deepest fears, your darkest secrets could be pulled from your mind. All you need is to be kept awake long enough. That was the promise and the peril of MK Ultra, a top-secret CIA program that ran for decades. Its goal? To weaponize the human mind. And one of their most insidious tools? Sleep deprivation. Subjects, often unwitting victims, were kept awake for days, even weeks on end. The methods were brutal: relentless light, blaring noise, sensory overload designed to fracture the psyche. But it didn't stop there. They combined sleep deprivation with LSD, with hypnosis, with a cocktail of mind-altering drugs, pushing their subjects to the very edge of sanity and beyond. Imagine the terror, the confusion, the slow, agonizing disintegration of your sense of self. These weren't prisoners of war. These were American citizens, students, patients in hospitals, people who wandered into the program's web, unaware of the nightmare that awaited them. The damage was often irreversible. Victims suffered from amnesia, from psychosis, from a lifetime of psychological torment. Sleep, once a source of comfort, became a trigger for their trauma. MK Ultra was eventually exposed, its horrors laid bare. But the chilling truth remains. Governments were willing to exploit the vulnerability of the human mind, and sleep deprivation was their weapon. But what if I told you? The most disturbing experiments weren't confined to humans. What if the quest to understand sleep deprivation led scientists to inflict unimaginable suffering on innocent creatures? Chapter 3. Death Without Sleep. The University of Chicago, 1960s, a place known for groundbreaking research. But behind the ivy-covered walls, a different kind of experiment was taking place. One that would send shockwaves through the scientific community. Their subjects? Not humans this time, but rats. Hundreds of them. The goal? To push these creatures to the absolute limit by depriving them of sleep. The method was simple, yet brutal. The rats were placed on a rotating disc. Whenever they drifted off, the disc would jolt them awake. A relentless cycle of exhaustion and terror. The results were horrifying. Within days, the rats' fur grew matted. Their eyes, once bright, turned dull and lifeless. They stopped grooming, stopped socializing. Their bodies, starved of sleep, began to shut down. But it wasn't just their physical health that suffered. The rats' minds, too, unraveled. They became disoriented, confused, their movements erratic and frantic. Then, the unthinkable. After 2 weeks of sleep deprivation, the rats started to die. One by one, their bodies, ravaged by exhaustion, simply gave out. Autopsies revealed the gruesome truth. Their organs had failed. Their immune systems had collapsed. Sleep deprivation hadn't just broken their minds, it had shattered their bodies from the inside out. These experiments, as horrific as they were, proved one terrifying fact. Sleep isn't optional. It's not a luxury. It's as essential to our survival as air, as water, as food itself. And yet, we live in a world that glorifies busyness, that celebrates pushing ourselves to the limit. We sacrifice sleep for work, for entertainment, for the illusion of achieving more. But at what cost? The Russian sleep experiment may be a fiction, but the truth it reflects is far more disturbing. The human mind, like those rats on the rotating disc, is fragile. It needs rest, it needs sleep. To deny it is to risk unraveling the very fabric of who we are. So yes, the Russian sleep experiment was fiction. But the terrifying truth? Governments really did try to break people using sleep deprivation. The human brain really does unravel without rest. Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are almost true. If your mind just got blown, wait till you see what's next. Subscribe for more unbelievable true stories, science mysteries, and facts that challenge everything you know. Sleep tight. You're gonna need it.